Now we're going to look at using this knowledge we've gained for our own and our students' benefit. Let's look at what meditation is. Meditation is mental cultivation leading to our transformation, our understanding. Firstly, in meditation, we learn to focus our minds using one point to focus on. And one point can be anything, but the best one to use is where our breath touches inside of our nose or our upper lip. Some people like watching their belly button going in and out as a focus point. You can use any point, but one that's on your body is with you all the time. So when you have a experience which requires you to calm down, then you can go back to focusing on this point. Because this point, when you concentrate on it and practice for a long time, then it can become an anchor point to stop you going into various emotional states. So the point I use, and a point I recommend you use, is try to look at the point inside your nose or on your upper lip where you can feel the air touching it. Secondly, once we be able to focus our minds, we can become aware of what's happening in the present moment by becoming not attached to what we see, feel, or think or imagine with liking or non-liking. In other words, we're mindful of what's going on in our mind without becoming attached to it. So we use this concentration, which we focused on our point in our nose, to look at our mind, what our thoughts are doing, and not letting them be attached and changing what we're seeing or hearing or smelling or tasting or touching. So we can choose what to follow, when all our thoughts and speech and actions have effect on ourselves and others. So we choose what is beneficial and not destructive. And thirdly, the third part of meditation, is we cultivate beneficial thoughts, emotions and speech and actions that will bring us happiness and well-being. So let's look at ourselves in our own life, first of all, before we go on talking what we can do to help our students. First of all, we should become motivated to do this. We want to do it. How we can take this chance to really help ourselves to be happier and have better lives. And we should become clear about our lives and our happiness and suffering, with understanding with empathy, the situation of ourselves and others, following our birth and getting old or sick or dying. Because we live in this continuously changing planet. Everything is changing all the time. Sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're sad. And we should see clearly how we react instantly to things coming into our senses. What we hear, what we see, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch, what we dream of. We have instant liking and disliking. And this changes the picture of what we're seeing in the world. Once we have a hatred or dislike for something, it changes our picture. Our world looks more aggressive. We have a like or want something, the world looks more attractive. And all this is more than what the world really is. So we've got to try and get a picture, the true picture of the world, without our mind changing this picture. And so we don't behave with attachment and behave in a way that's going to cause us unhappiness. We've got to come to understand the need to change this habit of instant reactivity. We've got to stop reacting all the time in a way which is going to cause us problems. So our mind become peaceful, less anxious, and we can come see things more clearly and unbiasedly, and choose to act in beneficial ways that results in happiness and well-being for ourselves and for others. So we practice to change. So to do this, we learn to practice in ethical and beneficial ways in our everyday life. We practice to watch and select our thoughts and emotions, and we practice to deepen our understanding of the world we live in, the changing world of reality. To do this, we start to cultivate in ourselves love, compassion, joy with others, peace, and contentment. In other words, improving our relationships, because our relationships are so important. If we give out hatred in our relationships, hatred is going to come back to us. If we give out love in our relationships, love is going to come back to us. Similarly, when we give out compassion, it's going to come back to us. Joy with others. You're happy with other people, they'll be happy with you. Give peace to other people, peace is going to come back to you. Same with contentment. And we make ourselves strong. We increase our strength by cultivating these good habits, good states of mind. We cultivate tolerance and loves, and this makes unavoidable suffering easier to bear. We're all going to have problems, and we've got to become stronger. And when we have tolerance and love, we get stronger. It makes us stronger and more robust so we can remain inwardly calm during hardships. If there's a solution to the problem, why be upset? Why be dejected? There are no solutions. What's the use of being dejected? You just got to accept things as they are. So become more tolerant and more understanding and more loving. We have to learn how to deal positively with hardships. Hardships can bring us together and help one another. Hardships can help us grow spiritually as individuals. If everything runs smoothly all the time, then our stimulus to help ourselves is not there. We need hardships. We need times when we're feeling unhappy. We need suffering to make us realize that we can do something about these things. If we're just happy all the time, busy doing things, we're not going to improve ourselves and give us deep and true happiness. We should learn how to cultivate patience and understanding. And being patient and have understanding helps us to accept reality as it really is. And patience and understanding helps us become strong and fearless and increase our wisdom. We've got to learn how to cultivate contentment, being happy with what we have, and let go of desire for more and more and more. But we must ensure that we have enough for ourselves for basic well-being. But we don't go more and more wanting things, and just building up things, as many people in Western society do these days. We've got to cultivate self-discipline and inner strength. We have to gain mastery over our destructive propensities. In other words, we've got to reduce our greed, we've got to reduce our hatred, we've got to reduce our delusions and reduce our corruption. We all have these stupid thoughts in our mind. We've got to learn to let them go. So we've got to gain mastery over them with inner strength and self-discipline. So when we cultivate compassion and generosity, we take joy in giving. Remember that when we give something, the effects of that will come back to us in the future. But we don't give with that thought in mind. We just give openly and happily, not thinking what we might get back. Compassion leads to freedom from fear. We've got to learn how to be strong and fearless. We only give beneficial things at the right time. If we give things at the wrong time, for example, if somebody comes to us, asks us for money and goes out and buys drug or marijuana or something or drink, that's not helping him. It's causing him problems. So give beneficial things when it's the right time. We do it honestly, giving comfort and psychological support to people all the time. So we examine any particular destructive emotion we may have in ourselves. Sometimes it's a family tendency. Some families of people always getting cross, or some other attributes which run in the family. Sometimes it's just ourselves. We have a tendency to be angry, or tendency just to be happy and fleeting around, or tendency to wanting things all the time. And just look at these destructive ones, like wanting things, or being angry, or being greedy, or being jealous. Particularly jealousy is very common. We see how it causes us problems, and see why are we jealous? Why does this arise? And then we apply the antidote. We let it go. We stop being greedy. We stop being jealous. Stop having the hatred in our hearts for other people. And we learn to enjoy our practice. We recognize the negative thoughts and replace them with being positive ones. We be patient and overcome distractions. And watch how things are always changing, and your life and relations are improving with developing beneficial qualities. You just see how your life is really improving when you do this practice. You're watching other people when they do this practice, how their life changes. When you're watching other people when they don't do this type of practice and they do stupid things, how they cause problems for themselves. Then you learn yourself and say, gee, I'm going to do this because it's really going to help me. And just watch what happens when you practice. We should sit every day increasing our own awareness and practicing meditation, keeping our minds in the present moment and letting go of all destructive thoughts and feelings. And we anchor ourselves in the present moment by using our breath, using that point of breath inside our nose. And we don't get lost in our dreams, the past and future. The only real time is the time we are in now. That's our present moment. The past is gone. It's like a dream. The future hasn't come. It's just our imagination. The only true time when we actually do something to help ourselves and to help others is the present moment. So we've got to learn to live in the present moment, not spend our time dreaming of what may have happened or could have happened in the past and what might happen in the future. So let's practice now and learn how to concentrate our mind. So sit down quietly now and straighten your backs so you can take in full breaths. So take a big breath in and out. Close or half close your eyes, but do not focus on anything if you have them only half closed. Now bring your attention to the point where the breath touches the inside of your nose or your upper lip. And to feel this point clearly, take a deep breath fast, in and out, till you feel that point, and then let it go and breathe normally. Now concentrate for as long as you can on this point. Put all your concentration just on this point. If you hear a noise, or you have an itch, or you have a dream or a thought, just let it go. Now put your concentration on this point. Don't look at anything else. Just keep your concentration on this point. It sounds easy, but you're easily distracted when you first start off in this practice. So to help you, you count the number of breaths you can take in and out before your mind is taken off in dreams or distracted. So put your focus on this point and count how many breaths you can take before your mind goes into dreams. And when you found you're dreaming and lost your concentration, go back to concentrating on a point and start from counting from 1 again. See how many breaths you can take now. Bring your mind back to that point and count your breaths. Try again really hard now and count how many breaths you can take before your mind wanders. Just keeping your mind on this point. That's the first practice of meditation. It's a practice which you do every morning. Because once you can concentrate your mind well, you can do many things much better. I was teaching to some vocational students in Lorengau about 10 years ago. Just this practice for about 15 minutes. The next day they came and said to me, "Oh, we can do our homework in half the time." So because they can concentrate their mind and stay on what they're doing instead of dreaming and flitting around their mind of various things. So it's a very important practice. It will help you in your studies and your planning for the day's activities. And everything you do, if you can concentrate your mind. And this is the first practice of meditation. To start off with, use that counting method to try and increase the number of breaths you can take before your mind wanders. Once you get up to 30 or 40 breaths, you can say you're concentrating pretty well. But often when we start off, we can do 3 and 4 or 5 breaths, Our mind's gone in dreams. So this practice is very important. Every day we try a little bit in the morning before we start our work. And will help your students a great deal if you can teach them the same thing, a little bit every day. Because remember, to have a healthy mind, you've got to think about a healthy mind platter. You've got to have enough sleeping time, physical time, focus time, connecting time, play time, down time, and in time. And what we're talking about is the focus time. This is when we have the close paying of attention that promotes neuroplasticity, the nerve cell changes, the nerve cell connection. And these do these changes by altering the chemicals in the brain and help the brain grow and learn and have better connections. The second part of meditation is dealing with time in. That's when we take time to reflect inwardly and focus our attention on the array of internal mental activities, such as sensations, feelings, thoughts, in the present moment, with mindfulness and awareness, just watching. So once we have learned to concentrate our mind, we can use this practice to become more aware and more mindful. And to do this, we first bring our attention to the whole breathing cycle. Then become aware of what's happening in our body and our feelings. Then become aware of what's coming through our sense organs and happening around us. Then we watch to see what is happening in our mind as a reaction to all these things, and letting go of any destructive thoughts or emotions that might be arising. So let's just practice doing that. So go back to sitting straight, with your back straight, and good air going into your lungs. Now every time you want to do meditation, you start off by practicing concentrating your mind on that point. That point where you can feel the air touching inside of your nose. And this becomes your anchor point. So in everyday life, when you have an emotional upset coming, some crisis, some anger, or something to upset you, you just bring your attention back to this anchor point, and it'll help calm you down. So bring your attention now to the point where you can feel the breath touching the inside of your nose, or your upper lip. Put all your attention on this point. Let go of any thoughts, any noises, any distractions, any itches, and just keep your mind focused on this point. Now, practice improving your concentration by counting the number of breaths you can take in and out while mind is focused on that point. And when you start dreaming or distracted by a noise, go back to counting from 1 again. And see how many breaths you can take and see if it's improving. Just practice again how many breaths you can take before your mind is distracted. Right now, change your focus of attention to the breath as it enters into your nose and goes into your chest, going back and forth. Is it going fast or is it going slow? Is it going in one side of your nose or both sides? Is it going deep into your chest or shallowly? Is your in-breath long or short? Is your out-breath long or short? Just watch. Observe what's happening in your breath. Now, let your breath slow down. As your breath slow, let your whole body slow, relax, and become healthy. Let all the muscles and all the organs, the whole of your body, in your head, in your limbs, in your trunk, let all the muscles, let all the organs relax, become peaceful and healthy. Let all your thoughts fall away, so your mind too becomes peaceful and relaxed. You feel peaceful and happy, just being aware of being peaceful and happy and relaxed and healthy. And just look at the changes in your body that's happening with your breathing. Just see the movements in the muscles in the body, the chest and the abdomen. Just look at the changes. Look at the feelings associated with this movement in the body, with your breathing. The feeling of the shirt moving on your chest. Just note any other feelings you might have in your body at this time. Inside your tummy, outside on the skin. Just note how they're always changing. Just see how these feelings and thoughts that arise from them, associated with what we can see and hear, and smell and taste, and touch, what's touching us, or what we're dreaming of, what we're thinking of, what we're remembering. For example, we can see the feeling arising when the air or the wind touches our skin. It gives a rise to a thought. Just watch what's happening in our thoughts and our feelings. What's happening outside from what we can hear? What sort of thoughts are they stimulating? Is it causing any destructive emotion to arise? Any anger? Any greed? Any feeling of, like, give up? Any stress or any worry? Any fear? Any pride or jealousy? Or selfish thoughts? All these are destructive thoughts. Do they arise in your mind when you hear things, or see things, or smell things, or taste things, or touch things, or dream of things, or think of things, and remember things? We just watch. Just watch what's rising in your mind at the moment. We practice like this every day, so we can become expert at watching what's happening in our mind. Because we've got to use this when we're in everyday life, because that is when all these destructive thoughts, when something comes to annoy us, when something happens to upset us, all these destructive thoughts arise then. So we've got to practice when we're sitting quietly to be able to do this in everyday life. And then once we see a destructive thought arising, we can let it go. We don't let it grow. We don't let it make a big splash in our mind, upset us, and change us, and so we do stupid things to cause more unhappiness for ourselves and for others. So we watch for the reactions in our mind, what's happening. So this is the second part of meditation. So we become more mindful and aware, so we can make the right choices for our own benefit. So we try and bring a status of love and compassion and joy, contentment and strength into our mind, so we can share with all beings everywhere. So that's the three parts of our meditation practice. Firstly, concentrating our mind, then using it, this concentrated mind, to see what's happening in the mind, and making the right choices for our own benefit, then cultivating good thoughts and good habits in ourselves and helping others to do likewise. So it's good to practice this every day, these three parts of meditation, so you can strengthen it. And just watch how it's going to change your life and how it changes other people's life. Practice is important. You won't get anything for nothing. You've got to put your mind to it and just see what you can do. You've got a great chance to really help yourself and help others if you can just practice this every morning and every night, just a little bit, and get better and better at it. So really enjoy and look forward to doing this practice every day.